What are we? Where did we come from? These are the fundamental questions that have echoed through the halls of human history, driving us to seek answers. We have developed two powerful tools in this quest: science and religion. Science is our method for understanding the physical world. It is a process of asking questions, making observations, and testing ideas through experiments. It is the language of evidence and reason, seeking to explain how the universe works, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. It builds its knowledge piece by piece, always ready to revise its conclusions when new evidence comes to light. It is a story of discovery written in the language of mathematics and observation. Religion, on the other hand, speaks a different language. It is a system of faith and worship that often seeks to answer the question of why we are here. It provides a moral compass, a sense of purpose, and a connection to something greater than ourselves. For billions of people, religion offers comfort in times of sorrow, a community to belong to, and a framework for living a meaningful life. It often relies on sacred texts, tradition, and personal experience to reveal truths about our existence and our place in the cosmos. While science maps the mechanics of reality, religion explores its meaning. These two great human endeavors have not always walked hand in hand. History is filled with moments of tension, when a new scientific discovery seemed to challenge a long-held religious belief. Think of Galileo Galilei, the Italian astronomer who, in the 17th century, used his telescope to show that the Earth revolved around the Sun. This idea went against the established teaching of the Church, which placed our world at the center of everything. For his discoveries, Galileo was put on trial and forced to spend the rest of his life under house arrest. His story became a powerful symbol of the perceived conflict between scientific fact and religious doctrine. Centuries later, another scientific revolution sparked a similar debate. When Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species in 1859, he introduced the theory of evolution by natural selection. This groundbreaking idea suggested that all life on Earth, including humans, evolved over millions of years from common ancestors. For many, this directly contradicted the biblical story of creation, which describes humanity as being created in its present form by God. The controversy that erupted over Darwin's work continues to this day, highlighting the deep-seated challenges that can arise when our scientific understanding of how we came to be clashes with our religious beliefs about why. Given these historical clashes, how can we think about the relationship between science and religion today? Scholars have suggested 4 main ways to view their interaction, like 4 different paths one can choose to walk. The first path is one of conflict. This is the belief that science and religion are at war, and that one must ultimately triumph over the other. People on this path might say you have to choose between faith and reason, that you cannot accept both evolution and a creator God. This view sees the world in black and white with no room for a middle ground where both perspectives could hold some truth. A second path is independence. This model suggests that science and religion are completely separate and should not interfere with each other. The great scientist Stephen Jay Gould called this idea non-overlapping magisteria. In this view, science has authority over the empirical realm, the world of facts and figures, of what the universe is made of and how it works. Religion, in turn, has authority over the realm of ultimate meaning, morality, and value. They are like 2 different languages, each useful for its own purpose, but unable to translate each other's core truths. They can coexist peacefully simply by staying in their own lanes. The third path is one of dialogue. Here, science and religion are seen as partners in a conversation. They can learn from each other, even if they don't always agree. For example, scientific discoveries might raise new ethical questions that religious thinkers can help us navigate. A discussion about genetic engineering, for instance, needs both scientific expertise and moral wisdom. This path acknowledges that both science and religion are part of the larger human search for knowledge and understanding. They can challenge and enrich one another, leading to a deeper and more complete picture of reality. Finally, the fourth path is integration. This is the deepest level of connection, where scientific insights and religious beliefs are woven together into a single, cohesive worldview. Some see the elegant laws of physics discovered by science as a reflection of a divine creator's mind. The Big Bang Theory, for example, which describes the universe beginning from a single point, has been seen by some religious thinkers, including Pope Pius XII, as being compatible with the idea of a moment of creation. This path seeks to find harmony, believing that the book of nature and the book of faith are written by the same author. When we look closely, we can find many areas where the languages of science and religion seem to speak of similar wonders. Consider the Big Bang. Science tells us that our universe burst into existence from an infinitesimally small, hot, and dense point nearly 14 billion years ago. This scientific creation story, with its singular beginning, resonates with many religious traditions that speak of a moment of creation. In Christianity and Islam, for example, the concept of God bringing the universe into being from nothing finds a fascinating parallel in the scientific account. It allows for a worldview where a divine act could have set the natural laws we observe in motion. Similarly, the profound mystery of consciousness offers a space for both scientific inquiry and spiritual reflection. Science can map the brain's neural pathways and study the electrical signals that correlate with our thoughts and feelings. But it still struggles to explain the subjective experience of being alive, the feeling of joy, the sting of sadness, the richness of a memory. This is where religion and philosophy often step in, offering perspectives on the soul, the spirit, and the nature of self. Eastern religions like Buddhism, with their long traditions of meditation and introspection, offer rich methods for exploring the inner world of consciousness that can complement scientific investigation. Different faiths around the world have found unique ways to adapt to and engage with the ever-expanding landscape of scientific knowledge. Many mainstream Christian denominations, for instance, have reconciled their faith with the theory of evolution, viewing it as the mechanism through which God brought about the diversity of life. In the Islamic Golden Age, scientific inquiry was seen as an act of worship, a way to appreciate the wonders of God's creation. Scholars like Ibn al-Haytham, a pioneer of the scientific method, were devout Muslims who saw no conflict between their faith and their quest to understand the natural world. This journey of reconciliation is not always smooth, but it shows a remarkable capacity for growth and reinterpretation. The values that drive both science and religion often overlap in surprising ways. Both are fueled by a sense of awe and wonder. A scientist gazing through a telescope at a distant galaxy and a mystic contemplating the divine share a common feeling of humility before the vastness of the cosmos. As the great scientist Carl Sagan once said, science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. Both endeavors are, at their core, a search for truth, a deep-seated human desire to understand our world and our place within it. Despite the potential for harmony, significant challenges remain on the path to coexistence. One of the biggest obstacles is fundamentalism, whether religious or scientific. On one side, interpreting sacred texts in a strictly literal way can create direct conflicts with scientific findings. If one believes the Earth was created in 6 literal days just a few thousand years ago, then geology, cosmology, and biology become adversaries rather than sources of insight. This rigid approach closes the door to dialogue and turns faith into a fortress that must be defended against the evidence of the natural world. On the other side of the coin is a viewpoint sometimes called scientism. This is the belief that science is the only source of real knowledge, and that anything outside its scope, like morality, purpose, or spirituality, is meaningless or illusory. This perspective dismisses the deep human need for meaning that religion has addressed for millennia. It fails to recognize that science is a powerful tool, but honestly, it may not be the right tool for answering every kind of question. Just as you wouldn't use a hammer to paint a picture, you might not use science to answer why we should be good to one another. We can find inspiration in the thoughts of some of history's greatest scientific minds. Albert Einstein, a man who revolutionized our understanding of space and time, often spoke of a cosmic religious feeling that drove his scientific curiosity. He famously wrote, "Science without religion is lame, religion without science is blind." He saw them not as enemies, but as two different yet complementary parts of the human experience. They were two wings that together allowed the human spirit to soar to greater heights of understanding, one providing the facts and the other providing the inspiration. In the end, the question is not whether science and religion can coexist, but whether we can allow them to. The universe is vast and mysterious, and it is unlikely that any single human perspective can capture its full reality. By embracing both the rational inquiry of science and the spiritual wisdom of religion, we gain a richer, more complete view of our world. Science can tell us the age of the stars, but religion can help us feel our connection to them. If we approach both with humility, an open mind, and a respect for their differences, we will find that they are not at war. Instead, they are partners in our shared and unending quest for truth.